Well, my friends, we have arrived at lesson 12 in Adeptship. This is where we will get off our little prajna boat. I have thoroughly enjoyed and appreciated being able to share these teachings with you and to take this little journey with you. And I highly recommend that from here you keep going with the path, with the teachings, with all that's out there to find, especially to listen to some live dictations by Elizabeth Clare Prophet and teaching straight from her. She was such a wonderful teacher, is such a wonderful teacher. Now, I have to tell you this because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for her. She changed my life. Talk about divine plan. When I was in my early 20s. In fact, I had a lady, a girl who was raised with gypsies who had read the palm of my hand back in summer camp. And she said to me, something very important is going to change your life in your early 20s. And sure enough, it was in my divine plan, and I met Elizabeth Clare Prophet. I found these teachings and it changed everything for me. So please do avail yourself of all that's out there that will help you to accelerate your path even further now that you've gone through these 12 lessons in Adeptship. And so the last lesson that I would give or include here is how important it is to pray for the world. We have to balance karma, and we balance karma when we pray for the world. Furthermore, when we pray for the world, we are ensuring that our planet has a chance to carry on, not only for ourselves, but for future generations. We need to, as responsible sons and daughters of God, pray for the world every day. There are many topics that the Ascended Masters have asked us to pray for. Everything from the defeat of abortion. Abortion is a terrible crime against the incoming soul, and it literally aborts the divine plan of a soul and the people they were supposed to connect with. So it's not just a physical tragedy, it is a soul tragedy. It's the greatest sin that we have. Then we look at the wars, we look at the misuses of money, we look at what the masters have called the international capitalist communist conspiracy. We look at the sins of socialism. We look at the sins of excess capitalism. We look at what is God justice and what is injustice in the world around us and in the justice system. We look at what's going on in the economy and where there are manipulations going on of money or supply or resources, etc. We look at all of those things that would seek to encroach upon our Constitution and our sacred freedoms, including now we have the entire challenge of artificial intelligence, robot creation, and everything else. These are things that can go very, very dark very quickly. And so only the threefold flame in our heart and our contact and connection to God can change these things around. And as we give the violet flame, we can see that things will start to change in our world in a better and more positive way. It's an alchemy. It's literally like we're lifting up the planet and ourselves to the next dimension or the next level, so that we don't have to have the worst come to pass in the physical plane. I remember one time I was having a dream of Armageddon, and it was a very real dream of shooting and just war, terrible war. And then I was given the understanding that I was experiencing this in the astral plane so that I wouldn't have to get into the physical plane. And so we know that every time there has been a major setback in world history, and the masters included the French Revolution in that, because the French Revolution became so bloody. It was not the will of God for that to happen, especially in the way that it did, and all of the guillotining and everything else. And so when these things happen, there are beasts of war, predatorial beasts of vampirism that come in from the astral plane, and they can literally rip apart the planet. We saw again and again in the ancient civilizations how civilizations were destroyed also by the misuse of the priesthood, the misuse of light, the misuse of power. The misuse of sound is very important. We have to pray continuously for the reversing of the dark sound that comes through popular music. We saw their sinking also happening because of the misuse of genetic engineering. And we see that we have to pray about all of these things, and the misuses of science and viruses and chemtrails and everything else that is a burden on the four lower bodies of the planet and the people. We have to make prayers and calls on the educational system. The Ascended Masters are not in favor of same-sex unions and marriages, because it's important for a soul to balance the energies of Alpha and Omega in a given life. And whatever a soul embodies as, that is their gender for that life, and that is their dharma for that life, and they must play out that dharma. So anything else becomes a rebellion, and the more people are into homosexuality, the more they will reincarnate with the same issues. And then they think it's something that is genetic or from birth, but it's really a rebellion against the laws of God, against Alpha and Omega, the union of Alpha and Omega that they carry from lifetime to lifetime. That doesn't mean we hate them. That doesn't mean that we don't can't appreciate who they are in other aspects of their lives. Of course, we can, but we need to understand the spiritual teaching behind this. And so we've got all of these things going on at every level of our economy, politics, countries in the world, wars, drugs, drug trafficking, homelessness. There are so many things to pray for. And so I pray that you will, as a responsible son and daughter of God, look at what's going on in the news, at least some, so that you're not overpowered by it, but enough to be able to make the call. Everything you say that is not the way it should be, make the call, give it to God. Then we know that the Masters can work with it, because we of our free will have invoked their intercession. They cannot lawfully intercede without our call. And so the Master Sanat Kumara gave us a beautiful short call to make. He said that we can say, in the name I am that I am, in the name Brahman, which are the two names of God, one from the Jewish tradition and one from the Hindu tradition. The name I am that I am, in the name Brahman, I call the Sanat Kumara and the legions of the 13 archangels, Christ in the center of the 12, to take command of. And then he said, list the issues. So we asked them to take command of the youth of the world, drugs, sugar, liquor, rock music, rap music, all the rest, including the drug culture. Then we can ask him to take command of the misuses of power within the pharmaceutical industry, the medical industry, politics, government, environmental problems, educational problems, challenges with the youth, cultural problems, the misuse of entertainment and music, and everything else that we see, including abortion, child trafficking, and all of the harm that is done to children around the planet. We call now for the removal of those who are the powers that be, the powers elite, the power elites, and the international capitalist communist conspiracy. We call for the cleaning out of all of our government agencies and military and everything else. And we call for the cleaning out of the entertainment industry, Hollywood, the media, and all of those things as well, and every department of church and state, including the cleaning out of the various religions of the world and where there is false teaching. So you see, there's so much to be done every day. It's easy to spend an hour a day or more in prayer for the world. And this, if you are truly going to be pursuing a path of adeptship, is an important responsibility. And the masters and the angels and younger souls who may not know on the outer are counting on you, including the youth of the world, to make these calls for them so that heaven can intercede, because we use our free will to call them. And so that is what I will seal with. And I pray with all my heart that these calls I made tonight will be answered perpetually, multiply perpetually, and will catch like wildfire from heart to heart as we nurture that threefold flame and expand it and grow it. And every time we give our energies to God in prayer and in thanksgiving and in service, that energy will be returned to us multiplied many times over, so that we keep growing in grace and consciousness, and so that we can ultimately make our ascension even from the physical plane. So those are my thoughts. I am so thankful that you walk this journey with me. God bless you. And look for my little book. I have books at booksforaquarius.com, and these will be published also in book form. God bless you. And thanks for walking this journey of adeptship with me. Namaste.